Hi, everybody. My name is Marie Kay. I am the Associate Director of Transfer Admissions over at Illinois Tech. Today's panel is going to be about our Coursera program and the Bachelor of Information Technology and Cloud Computing. I have with me panelists from Illinois Tech as well as panelists from Coursera to help answer a lot of the questions that you might have. You'll notice that there's a questions answers box. Feel free to go ahead and insert questions anytime you might have them. We will be going ahead and answering those questions as they come in addition to taking time at the very end in case there are any additional questions to be going in and answering those as well. So just to introduce myself, like I said, my name is Marie Kia. I'm the Associate Director of Transfer Admissions at Illinois Tech, working specifically with Illinois Tech's portion of the admissions process. I'm also going to allow India to go ahead and introduce herself.
Hello all, my name is India Vieira and I am the Coursera Representative Enrollment Counselor. So I assist with the admissions process. I'm really your support guide with assisting you on answering any questions about the program and walking you through the admissions process.
Perfect. And with me today, I also have on the call one of our admission staff members, Marcus Tweedy. Marcus actually works very closely with the transfer students in addition to students coming in from Coursera. If you have any specific Illinois Tech questions, Marcus, if you'd like to take a moment to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marie. My name is Marcus Tweedy, as she said. I do work with transfer students in the Coursera program at the undergraduate level. So I work with students on anything from transfer credit issues, anything in terms of getting through you'll be working mainly with Coursera's team on the pre-enrollment process, and then once you are started, I'm another person who can help troubleshoot things.
Perfect. So let's move forward. So just a little bit about Illinois Tech. For those of you that essentially have never heard of us, we are a university out in Chicago. We're actually in downtown Chicago. With that being, part of this program was designed for being able to be completed completely online because we recognize that not every student is going to always be able to make it to campus. A lot of you might be working full time, so it might be very difficult to be able to take, in-person courses, thus offering this program through the Coursera platform. Illinois Tech, we always like our location, we like our programs because our programs have a lot of real world applicability. So the type of assignments that you have, the type of projects that you have is not just simple, okay, here's a theory behind it, but how does it actually apply to what you're doing? This is a part of the key component for our programs, both in person and online, is to make sure that when you are being prepared and when you're getting ready to graduate, a lot of what you're doing has to do with career outcomes. It has to do with your career in general. We are a nationally ranked private research university. What that means is we do offer programs and degrees all the way up to the PhD level. And we focus heavily on business, engineering, computer science, architecture, natural sciences, human sciences, and law. So we are very STEM heavy and STEM focused, which is why we, of course, encourage computing programs and making sure that we're meeting those industry standards. So a little bit about our school in general. Our campus has about 3,100 undergraduate students. These are students representative from all 49 states. I do know that some students asked the question about, somebody actually asked the question whether you can actually take courses while living out of state or even being an international student. Yes, you are able to enroll if you're an international student into this program. We have about 18% of transfer students that are the ones that enter in fall class. So we do have a significant transfer student body, which is something we've become very proficient for working with students, recognizing that you all have different needs, different kind of transcripts coming in different kind of walks of life. If you were to ever be on campus, you'd find that each year on campus, we hold about 664 plus events. In addition, 16% of our student population are international students. So we do recognize that time zone differences. We do recognize that there are those kind of cultural differences, just the various kind of needs of international students. We do have great representation. And for anybody that follows sports, we are an NCAA Division III team, in addition to having both esports and intramural athletics. To provide you a bit of an interview, kind of background on this program itself. So the whole point of this program is This program has to do a lot with industry experienced faculty. The faculty members that teach courses for Illinois Tech are faculty that are actually working in industry. They're doing research in the industry. So it's not just, people kind of who've got a degree now teaching you theory, but these are people that have connections. They've done internships. They know people that have internship opportunities. They know what's happening and how industry such as computing is changing so vastly. And so the curriculum is always reflective of that change. We're not teaching you things now that are going to be irrelevant or were relevant at some point and are no longer relevant today for careers and for the industry itself. The key is to build some foundational knowledge. We want to make sure that you understand hardware, operating systems, project management, web development. So we want to get you to get a great holistic kind of approach of understanding what information technology actually is. Your curriculum is going to be very similar to the curriculum that you would have on campus, so it's not necessarily sifted down or made easier. On the contrary, you're still getting a very reputable bachelor's degree, and the expectations would be the same as if you were taking a similar class on campus. Um, we use different curriculum models. You'd be able to develop skills in cloud computing along with cybersecurity because a lot of students we've recognized have a great interest in cybersecurity and what that means with cloud computing, given that so much of technology is now becoming online versus locally stored. You get to do things such as designing and building and fine-tuning information systems as part of a capstone project. So, it's not just being able to actually apply and do it, but you want to be able to apply that. And we also have you do this through an IPRO project. So an IPRO project is a real world multidisciplinary problem solving project. We actually, ask you to go out there and use the knowledge that you've gained to be able to solve a problem that is presented to you. But this problem would be applicable to very real world scenarios. Um, We've been around for quite a few years, both on a national level, international level. We are key in our information technology programs, and we have about 20 plus years of experience teaching students for career focused information technology programs, essentially. So, outcomes, if you were to do this program, what is the goals? We want to make sure that you're prepared for industry roles. We recognize industry is very niche. We recognize it's changing, and we recognize that your knowledge has to always kind of be supplemented and you have to have a little bit of everything. And so we want to make sure that you're able, by the time you graduate this program, to take on various different jobs in the IT world, not just, a single position or a single kind of program. We want to make sure that you're actually going deep in and understanding and able to kind of do different positions. Um, so for those of you that might already be in the IT field, this is a program developed to help you complement the skills that you've built so that you are able to kind of achieve possibly higher and higher positions that you're looking for, or maybe in more niche positions. We want to make sure that you're really understanding the demand of cloud technology and cloud security skills. Like we said earlier, as everything's going into the cloud and cloud is becoming a heavy focus of IT, we want to make sure that our students are at the forefront of understanding what those changes are and how they're going to really be able to position themselves career-wise for that. And lastly, we want to make sure that you're going to get a degree that's going to make you ready. So by the time you have this degree, you're going to be able to make sure that you are ready to get a career and build that. And it's not necessarily just, okay, well, I have these ideas, but I don't know how to apply them, or I'm not sure of where I stand in the workforce. I'm going to pass on the mic to India, who's going to be talking to you from a Coursera perspective.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, so I will discuss my role as an enrollment counselor at Coursera and the support that we offer. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as your Coursera enrollment counselor, I'm here to act as your guide to selecting the program of your choice through Illinois Institute of Technology. And so a little bit about my role is just to aid you with the tools that you need for success to discuss the admissions process. And again, being your support resource for any assistance and clarification you may require. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So a little bit about performance-based admissions. So your work is your application. There's no application for the program. Simply just complete what we call a registration form, registering for a pathway into the program. And so a little bit about what a pathway is. So a pathway is 3 courses that you need to complete with a 3.0 GPA combined score to be fully admitted into the program. And so what that pathway does is it gives you a little bit of a taste of what you will be experiencing throughout your core curriculum. So a little bit of the skills you'll be obtaining and utilizing throughout the program, as well as these courses will count towards your total credits to complete the degree. Along with completing the pathway courses, you also will need to transfer in 61 credits, okay, of prior coursework. And so that 61 credits is from your previous undergraduate, general education, lower level humanities, natural sciences coursework that you've completed. As well as Illinois Tech will review industry certifications as well. Okay, but again, no application required. You simply complete what we call a pathway into the program. And again, that's the 3 courses that you need to complete with a 3.0 GPA or higher, and submit your official transcript showing that you have 61 transferable credits from your undergraduate previous coursework. Next slide, please. And so just a little bit more information about performance-based submissions. Again, this is a step-by-step guide here. You complete the registration form through Illinois Tech's website. And so when you click on the Coursera main program page, you can click enroll now and it will link you to the Illinois Tech registration form. So we're so excited. Spring term A is currently open. If you're looking to start this program for the new year, we do have a January start date approaching. So you would click that registration form and fill out that form for our January 8th start date if you're interested in January, but we do have a March, and then we have some summer start dates as well. Those are currently open as well. And again, step 2, complete the 3 pathway courses. Now, you do not have to complete all 3 courses at one time. However, you do have that option. And you do want to set aside about 6 to 9 hours of study time per week per course. So just keep that in mind when you're registering for your pathway courses. And after you complete the 3 pathway courses with that 3.0 combined GPA score and submit your official transcript showing that you have the transferable 61 credits, then you'll be fully admitted into the program. And next slide. And so that is my portion, and I will transfer over to Marie for the Q&A.
Perfect. So we're going to have a moment. I've noticed that some of you have answered questions. Some of these we will go ahead and actually answer live. Others, Marcus will be actually typing out the answer. But feel free to keep adding answers. We'll keep this open for as long as we need to. One of the first kind of questions that I got, in terms of fastest time to complete a program, in theory, you're coming in with about 60 credits is what you need to have. If you happen to have more credits that are applicable, then yes, you might finish a little bit faster. But in reality, it just simply depends on the number of credits that you're coming in with. And 60 is that minimum, essentially. All right. There's also a question about if somebody wants to transfer from online to an offline on campus later. So this specific program, the Bachelor of Information Technology, specifically relating to cloud computing, is only being offered to on Coursera's platform. It's not being offered, or the same exact program is not being offered on campus. And because Coursera has a very different pricing scheme, since it is a completion program, you would not actually be able to transfer. If you wanted to transfer over, you would actually need to do that in person on campus directly and see if you have online classes available, versus through the Coursera program. That wouldn't be feasible. Questions being asked about undergraduate, graduate level coursework specializations. So anything that you have coming in from academic transcripts, we do, of course, evaluate for transfer credit. Um, anything, things like MOOCs, for example, or those kind of courses coming in from Coursera, edX, other organizations. So IIT does have a policy where we do accept certain tests. So we are able to kind of test out of certain courses, but anything where credit is being taken in from any of these kind of external programs, you would actually need to reach out to our undergraduate academic affairs department. They would coordinate with the department themselves, the academic department, to determine whether it's sufficient to actually award you bachelor's level credit, essentially. And the reason is sometimes these courses are more for professional skills versus actually being able to prepare you for a bachelor's. Now, the courses that are part of this program, the initial PBA courses, those are courses that Illinois Tech has approved as part of this program being offered to Coursera. So somebody actually asked me whether research opportunities learners can have during their CS degree. I do want to kind of be very kind of clear on this. This is an information technology and cloud computing degree. It is very different than a CS degree. CS degrees are much more math proficient. It's much more based on not just math, but it's also algorithmic versus this is much more applied learning. So I do want to kind of just make that difference in there. And then let's see. So is there any focus upon AI, ML, and LLMs in this course? So the course kind of does take different components into it. Um, you will see actually all of the courses for this program listed on our website, and you'd actually be able to read the course description for each course to get a better understanding, what exactly is being taught in terms of the content. If you have very specific questions about a very specific course, I'm happy to connect you with the faculty of the department who can better answer exactly the material being covered, but more or less the type of coursework is available in the list of courses online for us. All right, John, in terms of industry certificates, again, it does kind of come down to academic affairs whether they are going to be able to actually award credits. I would definitely connect with them. I would maybe suggest to them what you have. Usually, we don't give experience for work as part of this program, but I do know that if you have specific exams that you've taken, you might be able to get credit for it. I think it just comes down to working with academic affairs on anything that's not on a transcript. You're welcome to reach out to myself or Marcus, and I'm happy to connect you with the right kind of contacts at academic affairs to help essentially answer that kind of question for you.
A couple of people in the chat I've noticed have asked for our contact information. I can drop those in the chat for everybody now also.
So Jurgen, the 61 credits, they need to basically be general education credits is usually what it's going to be. There are some very program specific courses. Those are courses that you need to be taking and you cannot necessarily transfer in, the ones that are very program relevant. Merit-based scholarships. Unfortunately, for this program, we don't offer scholarships or financial aid. This program has a different pricing structure than what our traditional programs on campus would have, which is why we don't offer financial aid or scholarships for this program. So, in terms of access to labs, since this isn't an on-campus program, you wouldn't have access to on-campus labs. However, I do know that some faculty have previously used kind of virtual lab spaces where they've been able to give, access to students in the need of projects to be able to actually have conversations and be able to access specific software. Uh, that really just depends on each faculty, the course, and the course content, whether your project's going to require something like that or not. But in terms of physical spaces on campus, you wouldn't have access to those resources. And then If you completed an undergrad program, yes, those credits are transferable. You will want to make sure that you're sending your transcripts over to UGA processing at it.edu. Marcus will go ahead and actually put in that email address real quick for you. If for whatever reason you submit your transcripts and you're not getting any feedback, or it's you've never heard of anything from us, reach out to Marcus first and myself. Sometimes it might be that for whatever system we didn't get the transcript. It might also be that the systems were possibly connected the transcript to a different application record. So just to make sure, once you're sending to GA processing, go ahead and send Marcus an email so that we can track them down for you. India, there's a question regarding registration fee. I'm not sure if you want to take that one.
So in regards to the registration fee, it would just be 273 USD dollars, and that would be per credit. Now the pathway courses are 1 credit each, so you would just be paying the 273 USD dollars per course for your pathway courses.
Perfect. And there's also one more question regarding the PBA courses for students that might have already finished the degree. If you can also take a look at that one.
Yes, let me see here. And is that the first question here?
It is a question that came out at 12:19, so I believe the second one.
1 second. 12. Okay. So in regards to the PBA courses, just want to make sure that I am seeing the correct question here. So I see if I already have a diploma of computing programming, do I still need a 3 pre-course? It looks like I already took it in college from Kathy Lee. Now,
Yes.
to answer that question, you still will need to complete the pathway courses. The 3 pathway courses, again, with that 3.0 GPA combined score to be accepted into the program. So you won't be able to bypass the pathway courses. But the great thing is those pathway courses do count towards your total credits to complete the degree. So they will be counting towards your degree completion. Great question.
Perfect. So I have a question that I just received regarding transfer credit and how it's assessed. So in terms of evaluating previous undergraduate courses, Illinois Tech awards credits for grades of C and above. I noticed that some students took pass and fail courses. Pass and fail courses, or pass courses essentially, that occurred during COVID, and the university actually specified pass fail grading for the purposes of COVID would be counted. Otherwise, pass and fail courses are not actually accepted. And that's simply because sometimes there are some universities or colleges that take a D as a passing grade. So without actually knowing what the letter grade of that is, we wouldn't be able to necessarily know the equivalent. So somebody has a great question here. The Coursera website advertises that this program can be completed within 5 semesters. What per semester credit load would a student need to have in order to do this? And what would those courses be available in time? So essentially, if the assumption is that if you're coming in with about 60 credits, 61 credits, you're taking those PBA courses, your remaining coursework should be able to be completed within a 2 to 2.5 year, which is where that 5 semester kind of credits comes in. Now, what that actual number entails in terms of how many courses would be left and how long it would take, it really would depend in terms of the load that you want to take on how many courses you transfer in. So if you've received credits for all 61 courses, you obviously have much less to be completing, and so that course load is really up to you. Generally, most students would take a full-time course load to be able to kind of finish in time. That usually is about 12 to 15 credits. Now, with that, in terms of the course availability, yes. So the Coursera program does follow a cohort model, which is one of the reasons we are making sure that all the courses necessary for students to be taking are being offered, in a scale so that they are actually able to be completing it in those courses. You'll never actually have to worry about a course not being offered for another 2 years, for example, and you needed to graduate. So and you have a question. If I don't have any college credit, can I try to get all the credits required from Illinois Tech? So here's the thing. So this specific program is a bachelor's completion program. So the assumption of this program is that you do have credits. If you do not have any credits, you would need to get credits from a community college or another kind of program related that would give you that equivalency. Otherwise, you would be a traditional student. This program is specifically for students that had that 61 credits, and they are essentially ready to be just completing the bachelor's program, and they simply just cannot do it on campus. For students who have degrees,
Oh, to briefly jump in, Jurgen, I believe, asked a really good question he asked about the transfer credit requirements and about whether discrete math is part of that. So I dropped the link in the chat for everybody with the full list of course requirements if you're curious. But most of them, you'll notice, as Marie kind of said, are pretty general. And so there is some so we do look for, so similar to other 4-year degrees, we do look for some, say, natural science, humanities, but it is a lot of general elective credit. We are very flexible in terms of the credits that you're coming in with. And say if you already have a degree, it doesn't really matter what that degree is in, as long as you either have these requirements fulfilled or are able to fulfill them after enrolling.
Perfect. Mohammed has a question saying that for students that are coming in with degrees from universities outside the US or Canada, which credential evaluation agencies we would accept. Basically, we would accept any NACES accredited translation agency. Examples of this would be ECE course by course evaluations or educational perspectives course by course evaluations. You will need to also be submitting the syllabi for the courses that are being evaluated. So it's not just submitting your transcript, but you also need to have the syllabus that contains a course description for these courses. All right. India, there seems to be a question about an enrollment fee. A student was being asked to pay 900 and just wants to know what that entails.
Yes, great question, Shaman. So I see your question. Now that $900 that you're seeing, I believe that did you register for the 3 pathway courses? Because it is $273 per pathway course because they're 1 credit each. And so if you registered for 3, you should be seeing a cost of $819. And so that would just be for the 3 courses that you're registering for, the tuition.
While the student responds, we also received another question regarding international degrees. Yes, we are taking international degrees as long as you have an evaluation done, such as the ECE, like you mentioned. We do accept credits for that, and we would be able to evaluate it for credits. All right, so I see 2 questions currently. Again, if anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to keep just throwing them in here. We're happy to answer them. The question I currently see has to do with the certificate degree. Is it going to have the same, is it the same as someone on campus? Yes, you are getting a degree from Illinois Tech. We do not stipulate that I would say online. No, it's a degree coming from Illinois Institute of Technology. I think we've actually answered.
Yeah.
Great question. So, sorry, if you want to take that one.
Oh yeah, great question. So it looks like here we have someone asking who they would get in contact with in regards to questions about the program. So that would be me. Again, my name is India Vieira, and I am the dedicated enrollment counselor for the program. And I put my information in the chat. You can feel free to book a meeting with me at a time that's convenient for you so we can discuss the entire program, talk about the admissions requirements, dive into the curriculum, and just have a consult to talk a little bit about exactly what skills you're looking to obtain and things in that nature. So yeah, I'll be happy to discuss the program with you, and you can feel free to click on the booking link in the chat and book a meeting with me.
Yes. Okay. Dennis asked a great question. Can you explain what this means on the Coursera website? Another 18 credit hours outside of your major must be earned at Illinois Tech in order to satisfy remaining core course requirements. So, Dennis, for accreditation purposes, in order to make sure that all of our bachelors are accredited, we do have courses that are part of your general education. So, these are courses that can be taken lower level at a community college, for example. These are your 100, 200 level courses. Now, there are certain courses at a 300 level, which we call kind of higher level general education or core courses that might have to do with humanities, sciences in general. These kind of are courses that are not offered at community colleges because community colleges are not authorized to offer courses above a 200 level. So these are 300 level courses that you would actually take at Illinois Tech. You can think of them as elective if you'd like to, but the reality is that they are part of the program requirements. So they're not necessarily academically specifically, the cloud computing IT courses, but they are relevant to making sure that you're actually graduating per accreditation standards that we have. Do we accept credits from 5 to 6 years ago? Yes, we do. So as long as you're coming in with credit relevant, that is coming in from, an official transcript. Yes, it's just the key is that official transcript has to be sent to us directly from the institution. So if it's a copy that you might have from 5 years ago, no, it does have to be resent to us officially coming from that school. Um, does this degree have a cybersecurity specialization? This is a fantastic question. To be very frank, not that I'm aware of. I do because you're taking very specific courses. The courses do have, a lot of components related to cybersecurity, but it's not necessarily a specialization in and of itself. Now, if you were to take elective courses, extras, yes, definitely you could go ahead and take cybersecurity courses in there, but not as a specialization. In regards to 61, yes, after 61 credits, you would be eligible to enroll into the program.
To add to that, it is possible the 61 credits is the general recommendation in terms of credits to come in with, and that is what you would need to officially to complete the degree. In case you do have, say, any specific requirements from the core curriculum that we would expect you to satisfy through transfer credit missing, then there are options to fulfill those requirements, say from a transfer or like through transfer credit after completing the pathway courses. Although that said, you would work with us afterwards, and we do recommend, of course, if you can have those before, that is going to be your best bet.
John, you have a great question, whether we can transfer credits of our social science humanities credits. So no, you can transfer up to lower level social and social science and humanities credits, but that is where those kind of 18 credit core courses come in because those are going to be higher level social science and humanities credits. Not all that 18 credits are going to be related to social science and humanities, but there is a component to that that has to do with 300 level social science and humanities courses. Dennis, no, the 18 courses are online. This is completely an online program. So part of it is that we don't ask you to come to campus. We recognize that, students, some of you might already be in the industry, and so you wouldn't necessarily be wanting to kind of come in and be on campus, or you might not have the capacity to do so. So this program is designed to be completely completed online. John, that's a great question. So Illinois Tech does offer a number of courses. Essentially, it's going to be about 300 level. You'll be able to see a list of the courses we offer in humanities and social sciences on our website. It really becomes up to you. So I don't want to call it an elective per se, but it really comes up to you which course you want to take to meet that requirements. Um, You'll notice if you're looking at a core curriculum on our website, some courses will be marked with an S or an H. That simply just means that they are meeting humanities and social science requirements. But essentially, you have a slew of options to choose from. It's not necessarily a very specific course that you'd have to take.
It looks like here that we have a great question. Are all classes designed as a 8-week session? And what is your recommended amount of classes to take per semester? Great question. So throughout the program, each semester will be 8 weeks. Now, you may finish the course before that 8 weeks. However, you do have 8 weeks to complete all of your coursework per semester. And then in regards to the second question about how many courses we recommend, now it just depends on how much time you have to allot to your studies. And again, you could think back to allotting at least 6 hours of study time broken up throughout the week for one course. So that can really give you an idea of how many courses you can handle per semester. Great question.
Man, you asked a great question too, and maybe India can help me with this one. Does the tuition cost vary for international students? A typical college would normally charge me 3 times more than an in-state student.
Great question, Emmanuel. So actually, the cost is the same for international, in-state, out-of-state. So it would just be the one tuition cost. And again, that would be for your pathway courses, $273 per credit hour, and that would be USD dollars.
Perfect. John, you also have a question, and you might be able to help answer these ones as well, in regards to courses and when they are going to be built into Coursera.
That's a great question. So in regards to, it looks like here, questions about when the courses will be built into Coursera. So through Coursera Plus, I believe that's what you're referring to, John. So we are still in the process of building out those courses, and I anticipate that those will be available coming soon, potentially in the upcoming semesters, to be available for you to start off as a non-credit student and then upgrade your course for actual credit. You just want to make sure you keep in mind when you upgrade your course, you will need to complete your final exam. So that's the one thing that's not available with the Coursera Plus course, the final exam. So once you upgrade the course, pay the full tuition for the course to Illinois Tech, then you'll have access to your final exam. And great question there.
Perfect. In addition, one of the students, Mohammed, is asking for Coursera, how many semesters are there in a year?
Great question, Mohammed. So the same with Illinois Tech. So with this program, we have 6 semesters a year. So we have our 2 fall, which is typically our August and October start, our 2 spring, which we're so excited about. We have our January start date approaching, and as well as our March start. And then we have 2 summer start dates as well. And so that is our May and June start. Great question.
Perfect. And then there's also a program or question regarding an ambassadors page of people that is enrolled. So unfortunately, we don't currently have a page of students enrolled. Part of it is that, this program has only recently kind of started with the first few cohorts. And at the same time, just student privacy in general, we don't necessarily advertise students that are enrolled in a program. In regards to scholarship, no, this program does not have a scholarship and is not applicable for financial aid through FAFSA either. Emmanuel's asking whether there's a minimum amount of courses required to be taken each semester.
Great question, Manuel. So there's not a minimum requirement. Now, we recommend for you to take at least one class per semester to stay on that track of the 2.5 years potentially to complete the program. However, you can break up your courses. You do not have to register each semester, and you can mix up the amount of courses that you take. So let's say your first semester, you start off with one course and you get the hang of things, and next semester you want to do two or three, that's completely fine. You really have a lot of flexibility with this program. And it's really, the ball is really in your hand of how many courses you want to register for per semester. So again, very flexible.
Perfect. I don't currently see any other questions. I will give it a minute to see if anybody else might have one. But if not, for those of you that have joined us, thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate the time. Yes, Titus, the courses are all online. This is a completely online program. India Marcos is asking, what is the maximum courses you can take each semester?
So I believe that there's not a particular maximum. Potentially, we wouldn't recommend taking more than 12 credits at a time, again, because you want to make sure that you're setting aside at least 6 hours of study time per week per course. So we recommend for students to start off with 1 to 3 courses at a time. And again, just take in account of how much time you have to set aside to your studies. And that's just broken up throughout the week. But great question there. So we recommend not taking more than 12 credits per semester at a time. However, if you have the time to allot to your studies and make sure that you're maintaining that 3.0 GPA throughout the program, then you do have the option to register for more. It looks like here, can you apply for federal student loans? So financial aid is not accepted for the program. But again, you can pay as you go per credit hour that you register for. So per course that you register for, to break up the cost there. Looks like you have a few more questions here.
This is a great question. Can you enroll simultaneously in another Illinois Tech PBA program? And yeah, I'm not sure if that's one you'd like to take.
Yeah, so the question is, can you enroll into a Illinois Tech pathway courses as well as a different program? So that shouldn't be any issue there, but you just want to make sure that you have enough time to complete both programs with the required time, GPA, to stay in good academic standing. And so that would be completely your choice. Great question.
Perfect. And in regards to, Mohammed has a question, but whether he can get the 61 credits elsewhere if the previous degree did not cover required courses. Mohammed, yes, I do recommend that you send the previous degree for transfer credit evaluation, see how much you're getting in terms of credit, and then you can work with Marcus and myself to determine, if you do need any additional courses and what those courses should be to make sure that you maximize your credits. All right. I see a few more couples. Elias, you would not be able to transfer from online to in campus as part of this program, and that's simply because this program is a completion program, and it is kind of essentially charged at a different rate than our traditional on-campus programs. So if you wanted to speak, to talk about doing an in-campus program, that is something that we can definitely discuss. But unfortunately, you would not be able to transition between the two programs, especially because we don't offer on campus a cloud computing specific program. So, great question. Unofficial transcripts, we can take a look at those in order to give you a general idea of how your credits would transfer. However, in order to actually be awarded, credits at Illinois Tech, at the point of transfer, you would need official transcripts. What do I mean by credit in this, please? So credit is essentially each course has a number of credits. So let's say to graduate, for example, some students might need 61 credits, which is the ones that you need for transferring actually. So to transfer, you need 61 credits. Most courses tend to be about 3 credits. So the assumption is, 61 divided by 3, that is the number of courses that generally make up a general education component, which is 2 years worth of coursework. So credit is just the number of points per se awarded to each course.
We do recognize that different universities do calculate, say, numbers of credits differently, or say a 3-credit course at one university could be technically called the same course, but it could be 4 or 5 credits at another university. That is something that in evaluating transfer credit, our team does look at and still tries to apply your credits in the best way, in the most relevant way that they can.
Great question. So I'm not, it looks like we have one more question here. I have an associate's degree from Ivy Tech Community College from 2019. With whom can I get in contact to see if my credits would transfer over? Great question, Emmanuel. Now in regards to your transfer credit, so you will need to complete, we'll send over the unofficial transcript. Marcus did mention that he could take a look at that, but the university will need the official transcript as well if you do decide to move forward with the program. And so, yeah, we'll be happy to take a look at the transcript to see potentially how many credits would transfer over. But if you have your associate's degree, then potentially you may be in that 61 credit range, but of course we would still have to take a look at the transcript.
Yeah, to add to that, we do still evaluate all the courses that you have taken on a course by course basis. The official evaluation would be done by other members of our team, but yes, I can be one of your go-to people if you have questions about where you're ensuring that we have your transcript, going through our the general requirements that we went through earlier for transfer credit. Feel free to reach out to me for those questions.
And then I have one more question here regarding a payment plan. Yes, payment plans are available. India, you might be able to speak a little bit more to that, but we do offer payment plans for this program.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So in regards to the last question about payment plans, so you would pay as you go per credit. So you won't have to pay the full tuition up front. So we're estimating about $18,000 to complete the degree if you're transferring in 61 credits and only have 66 credits left to complete. So you won't have to pay the full $18,000 up front. You would actually just pay per credit that you register for. And again, for your pathway courses, they're 1 credit each. Now your core courses will range from 2 to 3 credits each course. But again, for your initial pathway courses, they will just be 1 credit each. Now, and it says here on Coursera, 79 credit hours appears 61 plus 18. About what would be the total credit to be completed for the degree? Okay, great question, Dennis. So it sounds like that you're asking what is the total number of credits required for the degree? So the total number of credits is 127 credits to complete the bachelor's degree. Now, take in mind that if, transferring in the 61 credits, that would leave you with the 66 credits left to complete. Okay. Great question.
And so the other, outside of those 61 credits, the other 66 credits, everyone completes at Illinois Tech, regardless of what transfer credit they're coming in with.
Also looks like here that there's a question about my application is 99% complete. My fear was the 3 times tuition cost for international students. So Emmanuel, the great thing is there's no in-state, out-of-state, or international cost for the tuition. It would just be the one tuition that we have on the Coursera website, as well as the Illinois Tech website. And again, that is the 273 USD dollars, and that would be per credit hour for your pathway courses. Okay. Now, it looks like we have a question from Jurgen. For the pathway courses, I originally registered for one course in January and 2 in March. Could that still be changed? So yes, if you would like to drop one of the courses, you would complete a drop withdraw form, okay? And then you would re-register for the course that you're looking to register for the start date. Great question. Okay. And then in regards to, there's a question about retaking a course. Did you want to answer that one, Marcus?
In terms of say if you needed to retake a course. So my understanding is that you can't, if it's a pathway course, that you can retake that perhaps up to once or twice. India, if you want to confirm that. If it's an Illinois Tech course, in terms of retaking one of those for credit, my understanding is that you can, as long as you meet the academic eligibility requirements for the university in general. Marie, would you have anything to add?
And so, yeah, so you can do one retake and you will have to pay the tuition again for taking that course, but you are able to retake the course. Yes, great question. Okay. And then I see here, can we take IT major courses before completing all 79 core curriculum credits? That's a great question. Marcus, would you be able to answer that one? I'm not 100% sure if this question.
Yes, my understanding is that you can. So the caveat to that is that after you complete the 3 pathway courses, then at that point, my understanding is you would be considered like a full Illinois Tech student for our purposes. There are specific ways in which you can earn some of those leftover transfer credits. They're not all currently launched, but as an example, we will offer some courses through another online platform called Outlier. Those are courses that we know and that we've previously articulated, and my understanding is one can do that at the same time as they are doing major specific courses. If you were to take transfer credit courses anywhere else, then we would ask you to get approval from our academic affairs office. If you ever need to be connected to them or have questions in that process, then Marie and I can connect you.
Great question. So it looks like Danielle has a question. What are the next steps after you submitted your registration form and paid the registration fee, so the tuition? So next step would be to link your Illinois Tech account to your Coursera account, and you will receive an email with these steps. So you want to make sure you link your accounts, as well as you will need to complete a one-time onboarding course. So it's an orientation course. It really just gives you an overview of the university, online platform, and academic integrity pledge. You do want to make sure you complete your orientation course. And again, that would just be one time completing that orientation course throughout the program. And that's for your first course that you would complete that. And after you complete your orientation course, that's when you'll have access to your actual coursework. Great question. Now, we have another question here. Can you get a recording of the webinar? Yes, absolutely. So everyone who attended the webinar will receive a recording of the webinar. And we have one additional question here. Is Illinois an online course? Great question. So this program can be completed completely online, but Illinois Tech does have an actual campus in Chicago, Illinois.
It looks like we have one final question regarding where they would find the orientation course.
Yeah, so the orientation course will be housed in your online portal. Again, to complete the orientation course, you will receive, after registering, you'll receive a few emails. You'll have one, which is your registration confirmation email, and then you will receive your next steps email, which will break down how to link your account, your orientation course, and that information, important information there.
Perfect. And Indy, it does look like we have a student that has a question regarding the entire fee for the program.
Yeah, so in regards to the entire cost, it is we're estimating a cost of $18,000 to complete the program. Now, your pathway courses are 1 credit each, and they are $273 per credit hour. You also will have additional courses that are required, that are $333 per credit hour. Now your courses will range from 2 to 3 credits. So just under $1,000 for one course, that's for your core courses. And I'll give you that total cost there of potentially $18,000 we estimate. And that's with you transferring in 61 credits from your previous undergraduate coursework and only needing the 66 credits left to complete.
To add to what India was just saying, so that $18,000 cost that she mentioned does apply to the 66 credits that everyone completes at Illinois Tech online through Coursera. For the transfer credits, those are a separate cost, and the cost of those would be determined by where you take them if you haven't taken them yet. I know that our outlier courses do cost. I believe it's around 273, or it's a similar amount to say our pathway courses. But if you were to take them anywhere else, then that would depend on, you would pay that institution.
All right, I'm perfect. And I do realize we're out of time, but we do have one last question before we kind of dismiss everybody. Is there an application fee to take the initial course? India, would you like to take this one?
Absolutely. So there's not an application fee. You would just pay the $273 per credit hour. And again, for your pathway courses, they're 1 credit each. Okay, great question.
Perfect. So with that, I guess we conclude the webinar. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. If you have any additional questions, definitely please do not hesitate to reach out to Marcus or myself, or even India, the Coursera team. We're more than happy to help answer your questions and really just help you through this process.
Thank you all for joining.